Everybody, Sam Strains here, welcome back to the railway and welcome back to another review. I think you've come on a good day today because I think I might have found my new favourite train pack of all time. My old favourite was the White Pullman, which involved an N15, which is a gorgeous loco, but more recently I picked up this one. It's quite a big one from Hornby, and this is the Excalibur Express train pack. And of course I wanted to do some research on the Excalibur Express, and I didn't really find too much about it online, so if anybody out there knows more about it than I do, please let me know, because that would be very interesting. But basically what I did find out was that obviously it was a real train. It's quite a modern train. I think I found a video of it running in 2003, so that's fair enough. It was pulled by a Bulleid Pacific, specifically Tangmere, which is a Battle of Britain class. And it was also related, well quite closely related, to the King Arthur legend. Obviously Excalibur is a King Arthur name from the story, and also the coaches have the names of knights. So quite an interesting train pack. I bought this one on eBay, it was a bids, and I won it for £120, but when it came there was a serious problem with it, which we'll talk about later on. A bit of a disaster with it actually, but I did manage to get £20 off it, which means actually I got this set for £100, and when you consider that the loco on its own normally fetches at least £100, that's a pretty good bargain. So let's get to it then, the Excalibur train pack. I'm very excited, I hope you are as well. Let's have a look at it. And all of Hornby's train packs actually come in the exact same packaging, so I'm not going to bore you with this for long, but I will just show you the back of the box. So yeah, you've got the locomotive and coaches in the Hornby Matched Train series are, where possible, correctly matched in period and livery, with special points of identification simulating the details of the prototype. And I suppose the special points of identification here would be the coaches, because the coaches in here are really something special. Anyway, this particular set, as you can see by the label there, is R2308M, the Excalibur Express train pack. And with that then, I'm going to flip this back the right way round, not the white way round, oh goodness. And let's get this lid off and have a look. Okay, so this has got that piece of card inside, which helps to protect things, but it does mean that we can't see the engine or anything. So let's get this box open. I'm going to do it from this side, I think. Here we go. Okay, right, let's take this piece of card off to begin with then. And inside, first of all, the first thing you can see is the certificate, and I will show you this. This certificate just states that it's a special edition, and only 1,500 of these were produced, and mine, as you can see there, is number 383. So quite a special set this, and I might frame this certificate. I went through a phase of framing these at one point, so I might do the same with this one. And then before we look at the beautiful loco and rolling stock, I will just show you the instructions and things. So this particular little booklet is for fitting the super detail pack, and yeah, that's just as you'd expect really. The head code discs and vacuum pipes and steps and brake rigging, lamps and things, all very good, all very nice to have as well. Then of course we have the West Country / Battle of Britain class operating and maintenance instructions, and this is dated, well, it says 04 there, so it could mean 2004, which would make sense. And inside, yeah, you've got the usual stuff. This was before the days of DCC fitting, so there's no information on DCC in there, but that's fair enough. And here it is. I'm just going to move the bits of polystyrene out the way. Wow, look at this. Right, what to talk about first then? Right, well, let's talk about what we get in here to start with. So first of all then, one of my favourite locos of all time, and in fact it came number 1 in my top 10 video. This is Tangmere Battle of Britain class, absolutely gorgeous Bulleid Pacific there. Then you've got the 3 coaches. The top one here is the Red Knight, and as I was talking about earlier, these are all sort of named after knights, and just look at the quality of that coach, absolutely gorgeous. Then you've got the Green Knight, next one down, as you can see, very nice. We'll look at these coaches better once I get them out. And then the brake there is a Pendragon, I think that says, upside down. Again, very nice. Okay, so let's talk about what happened with the locomotive then, because I hinted that there was a problem when I first got this. Now with locos of this era, sort of from the 2000s, early 2000s I would say, when they first started making loco driven models again, the lubricant they used really didn't agree with the gears, and it tended to split the gears in fact. Now this set was supposed to be new, in fact the seller on eBay claimed that it was brand new, and so it had never been run, and I sort of believed that, and I still think that's true to some extent. But when I got the loco out to test it, you know, I serviced it fully as you would normally, and found that in fact it was just totally seized up. It wouldn't run, it would just sort of inch forward and then stop completely dead. And of course that's not good, because that could burn the motor out if you keep doing that too much. Anyway, on further inspection I discovered that the gear that was actually mounted to the axle inside one of these wheels, I can't remember which one it is actually, but we'll see later, the gear on the axle had actually split, which meant that it was just locking up the gearbox and stopping the loco from running. Now obviously that's a serious issue. I mean, I don't want to spend £120 on a set like this and the loco, you know, be no good. So I ordered a new gear set online, which, you know, cost, I can't remember, probably not that much actually, £5 to £10, not an awful lot. But then of course the fitting of the gear is absolutely nightmarish. The first thing you've got to do is take all of the rods and the linkage off from the sides, both sides of the locomotive. Then you've got to take the wheels out, and then you've actually got to take one of the wheels off the axle, which is a nightmare because they're, you know, they're delicate things. Then you've got to prise the old gear off, you've got to get the new gear back on somehow, which is another nightmare, and then you've got to get the wheel back on the axle. But it's not as simple as that, because if you get the wheel on even a few degrees the wrong angle, the loco won't be quartered properly and it will just seize up and not run. So you have to get the wheel spot on the axle, and that takes a lot of practice, and it's something that I don't do all that often. But the long and short of it is I have managed to do it. But of course this was, you know, it cost me the money to buy the new gears, and it was also an awful lot of stress and work to try and get this thing working again, you know, to get it to run. So I contacted the seller and said, you know, you said this was brand new, I was expecting it to run perfectly out of the box. It didn't, it's cost me money to fix, and it's taken a lot of my time to repair. You know, what can you do? And he offered me £20 refund, and I took it because, you know, it was a lot of work, and for my servicing service I would have probably charged £20 for a job like that. So I don't feel guilty at all. But nonetheless, let's get these out then. So let's get the tender. And the interesting thing about this tender is this is the rebuilt tender, and the reason for that is because the Excalibur train pack is the Excalibur Express, I'm sorry, is quite a recent thing. It happened, well, it's been happening in the 2000s. So of course the original bullet tender probably was rebuilt a long time ago, even though the loco wasn't. But yep, there it is. That is the rebuilt tender. And I'll show you one of the unrebuilt tenders later on, because I've got a few of those. But yeah, there that is, very, very lovely thing. But I know you're not all that interested in the tender, so let's get the loco out. Tangmere, a little bit awkward to get it out of this packaging actually, but I will do my best. There's only one hole in it for this. Oops, okay, there we go, I got it. Tangmere in the BR green, and it really is absolutely gorgeous. But I'm going to look at this more closely in just a second, but I will try and hold it with the tender for the time being. There it is, Tangmere. How beautiful is that? And it's got like the special crest on it there. I don't know if that has anything to do with the Excalibur Express, I'm no expert really. But yeah, that's that. Right, I'll put it to one side, and let's get these coaches out then. Oh, in fact, no, I'll show you the detail packs first, because the loco has revealed those. So, yeah, oh, this is interesting. So first of all, the first thing I spotted is you've got the little figures which you can glue into the cab. That's not something you get these days, so that's very, very nice to see. Then you've got a NEM coupling there, which is strange. I wouldn't have thought NEM couplings were around in those days, but yeah, there seems to be a NEM pocket. Yeah, oh, there is a NEM pocket. That's quite interesting. I thought that was later than 2004. Obviously, that shows how much I know. Then you've got lamps, head code discs and things. Oh, there's even shovels. Look, gosh, look at that. A big shovel there for the fire, presumably. Yeah, amazing. There's a hammer, a mallet. What a great detail pack. It's got the chain link couplings, steps, absolutely everything. Brilliant that is. Yeah, they looked after you in those days, didn't they, Hornby? Blimey. Okay, let's have a look at this then. Let's get the Red Knight out first then. If I push it out. It's quite a tight fit, this one. In fact, it's a very tight fit. But there it is. Beautiful coach, it really is. It's got all the curtains, detailed interior, Beautiful paintwork. I'll have to show you this up close. Very, very nice. This is a real good quality coach. It's not just one of Hornby's standard range coaches that they've bunged in. It's actually a special coach specifically for this train pack, so that's brilliant. That's the Red Knight then. Then we've got the Green Knight, which is the same thing, except it's got a different name. I'll grab it. There we go. The Green Knight. There it is. Just the same coach. Beautiful though, absolutely. Probably the nicest coaches I've got actually. And that's not, you know, it's my fault. It's because I prefer to spend my money on locomotive, as you know. So most of my rolling stock is a bit old-fashioned, but these are very, very nice. No NEM couplings on the coaches though, which is bizarre because the logo had them. So actually it has mismatched couplings, which is a bit odd. But there's the brake then, slightly different, Pendragon. Very, very nice once again though, absolutely gorgeous. Okay, well, I'm going to get these reviewed for you in just a second, but first of all, here's a little bit of history on the Battle of Britain class, and also a couple of shout-outs for you, so let's get to it. So hello to Train Jared 27, Epic Person 111, and Dandy's Love Queen Elsa. I think I said that right. Thank you very much for getting in touch, folks. So the Bullet Pacifics, well, the West Country and Battle of Britain classes were introduced in 1945 to the design of Oliver Bullard, and of course the two classes were collectively known as the Light Pacifics, and the two classes, in inverted commas, were absolutely identical. The first batch, though, were known as the West Country class, and the remaining 70 also were known as Battle of Britain, and of course Tangmere falls into that category. Together this made the class a total of 110 strong, and during the early 1950s, 60 of the class were rebuilt by British Railways to resemble a more conventional steam locomotive without the chain-driven valve gear. Tangmere, though, was built in 1947 and worked up till 1963 when it was withdrawn, and she was actually preserved. You can still see her these days, and she actually never received the rebuilding either, so she very much resembles Bullard's original design. So there she is then, the beautiful Battle of Britain Tangmere up against the white background, and as you know, this is probably my favourite model of all time. Yes, it's not the most detailed model in the world, but when it looks like this, somehow that doesn't matter. So let's have a look at this then. Absolutely beautiful in the BR green. Let's look at the livery. As you can see, yes, it's done in the BR green with this sort of double-banded lining with the black band in between the red stripes there, which is absolutely gorgeous. And you can see that all over the loco and tender, especially on the side of the cab where you've got the running number 34067, you've got the classification there, and also the crest down below, all beautifully applied and very, very nice looking too. You've also got the nameplate Tangmere, of course, which is very, very nice to see, and underneath there you've got another crest. I'm not 100% sure what that one means, but it could also have something to do with the Excalibur Express, I suppose. Obviously, with these being spam cans and with them having the air-smoothed casing, a lot of the detail is hidden, but as you can see on the exterior there is a lot of riveting which has been very nicely represented in the model. And up on the top there is loads of riveting and moulded detail as well as the safety valves here, which are metal and separately fitted, and you've also got some whistles here which appear to be just part of the moulding, but they have been separately painted nonetheless. On the front you can see we have got lamp irons with lamps on them, which is very nice, and the lamps that are on them have been painted up as well, which is good to see. And you've also got the running number on the smoke box as well. Now, something I forgot to mention when I got this out of the box is that there is a headboard for the Excalibur Express, but it's sealed in a bag, so I haven't taken that out, but that does come with it, which is good to see as well. Below there you've got a fairly basic buffer beam. I'm not sure if it's prototypical for it to be so basic, but it probably is. However, you do have sprung buffers, which is a good redeeming factor there. So as you can see, yes, sprung buffers. The whole loco is beautifully detailed with pipe work. As you can see, you've got separately fitted pipes here, which are also separately painted. You've got glazed windows on the sides of the cab and on the front of the cab. And yes, we've even got a painted cab inside there, which is brilliant. All of the detail has been picked out. It's not the best cab in the world, I must admit, but for 2004, I think that really is quite nice to see. So that's the loco then. As you can tell, it's got these beautiful bullied wheels, which have the sort of holes in them rather than the spokes. And again, that was supposed to be a cost-saving measure, but it also gave Bullard's locos a real unique look. So there it is, the air-smoothed Battle of Britain class. Let's have a look at the tender then. Now, yes, obviously the loco hasn't been rebuilt, but the tender has. The tender wouldn't have looked like this originally. But again, you've got that beautiful lining with the late British Railways crest on the side there, which is very, very nicely done. The coal in the top is fairly fine scale actually. It does look very realistic, and I think it might be removable as well, though I'm not going to try and pry it out, but I think it probably is. The tender also has glazed windows. You can see just tiny little windows there, which the crew can look through back out over the train, which is very, very nice. And the whole tender is covered in various different handrails and separately fitted ladders. It's also got the lamp irons and the steps and the vacuum pipes and beautiful underframe detail where you can also see those bullet wheels. Absolutely fantastic. And of course, yes, more sprung buffers, just like the loco. And yeah, again, NEM pockets as well for a 2004 loco. I thought that was quite impressive. So that's it. That's a quick overview of the detail. It is very impressive, and certainly for the age, it must have been one of the best logos around at the time. Okay, so let's have a quick look at one of the coaches then. I'm just going to show you one because they are all painted up in the same scheme, but I thought it would be nice to show you one up close. Alright, so here's one of the coaches then, and this one is the Green Knight. And like I said, it's probably the nicest set of coaches I've got, and I think it's probably easily the nicest set of coaches I've ever had out of a train pack. So let's take a look at some of the superb detail on this. Of course, it's in that lovely chocolate and cream livery with the Green Knight very nicely applied on there. And then you've got these crests, which I assume have something to do with the Excalibur Express, but they are very, very nicely applied, as you can tell. Each window has its own set of printed curtains on the glazing, which is very, very lovely to see, and also those no smoking signs, which are legible if you get nice and close. Inside you can see there is full interior detail, although it is fairly basic. It is there, which is very, very nice to see, of course. The bogies are super detailed as well, with painted axle boxes, which is very, very nice to see. You don't often get that, well, not with the kind of coaches that I buy. And on the ends you can see they have the electric warning signs there, and other bits of printed detail, which is a little bit too small for me to read, but it is there nonetheless, and that's very, very nice to see. Metal wheels, of course, and quite significant underframe detail. Once again, separately painted, some of it is. So, absolutely beautiful. A really, really good set of coaches, this, and as you can tell, the other two were just as nice. So, I'm dying to get this lot running, so let's get the Tangmere loco and these coaches down onto the track. Hopefully Tangmere is going to work okay now, and I think she is. The last time I checked she was running perfectly, so no problems there. Let's get some other of the Bullet Pacifics going then and have a really good running session, so hope you're going to enjoy it. Let's get to it. Okay, so there's Tangmere then, looking superb and splendid down on the track there, ready to be tested. And she's about to couple up to her own coaches, as you can see there. I've set those up, very lovely things too. And yeah, she's ready for her test then, so let's give her a little bit of a try. I must admit, when I first got this out and saw what was wrong, I thought, yeah, I'm not going to be able to fix this. So I'm really, really happy to say that she is going to be able to run for you. So here we go, a little bit of slow speed running then, see how she does. She's right on an express point here. And there she goes, look at that. What a slow speed performance that is. And it's not even a modern locomotive, this is, you know, over 10 years old. Well, it's more like 13 years old. And this is a loco that's been butchered, you know, I've absolutely torn this thing to pieces to fix it. And yet it still goes as good as this. So, absolutely brilliant. There we go, and it's got a fair bit of weight to it as well, so it's got good pulling power, but obviously it'll manage 3 coaches no problem. So there she is. How absolutely amazing. I hope you can see why I love it so much. Okay, let's go and couple to those gorgeous coaches then, and have a little run, shall we? Run round on the layout. The only slight problem is they don't have the same couplings, so that mismatch means that you often have to do it by hand, but we'll see. See if she's done it. Oh, she has. Right, pull them away then, girl. Nice and steady to start with, I think. There we go, there's the Red Knight, the Green Knight, and then Pendragon at the back. Alright, let me speed these up and I'll show you what else is going to run. On the inside line then, I have put the Merchant Navy class, this one's Bibby line, and for some reason, I don't know why I decided to do this, I've put the Cornish Riviera coaches onto her because I thought they just looked superb. So there she is, hope you're going to like seeing her. Then on the inner line I have, I forget which one this is, I think it's Spitfire, and she has actually got a goods train. And the other interesting thing, there's lots of interesting things, but one interesting thing about the Battle of Britain is that they're actually considered mixed traffic locomotives. When Bullitt was designing these, he was told that he was not able, they couldn't afford to build more express passenger locomotives, but Bullitt wanted to, and so he did things his way. He said, oh yeah, it's a mixed traffic locomotive, it's designed for goods as well, although he fully intended them to be for passengers. But that was World War II, they couldn't afford to be building new express passenger locos, but Bullitt managed to trick the board, it seems. So this one has got an unintentional, from Bullitt's point of view, train of ocean wagons, and see if you can spot the odd wagon out on there. But enjoy the running session then, and see what other Bullitt Pacific locomotives you can spot. If I see you again today, Bullman, you'll be going for steak. Come on now, how can anybody not think these are fantastic? As you can tell, this Merchant Navy is in the rebuilt condition, which means it doesn't have the air smooth casing, but the Merchant Navies in real life would have looked just like the Battle of Britain when they were first produced. There's Tangmere, stealing the show a bit. I think she's the most superior on the layout today in terms of detail and things. And don't those coaches suit her beautifully? Oh yes, I love this one, as you can tell. Here's Bibby line again. Really racing quite hard, she is. I wonder if she's late. That explains it. Slightly older one, that, the Hornby one from the 70s or probably 80s, I would say, to guess. Still a good runner though, don't get me wrong. Let's wait for Tangmere, shall we? Come on girl, show us your face. There we go. Beautiful. And they do look good as well, pulling their goods trains, don't they? Still a nice smart performance there from Spitfire. I think that's another thing I like so much about them, it's just because they're so versatile. And on the subject of them being so versatile, another thing that made them very useful was the fact that they were so light. You've heard them called light Pacifics. Well, they were designed to be light, which means they could go anywhere basically, within reason, route availability wise. And they were supposed to be fairly efficient, and I think they were, although that chain-driven valve gear was a little bit troublesome. I think it was just expensive to maintain. It seemed to work well enough. But of course, when they were rebuilt, like this one was, they had the Welsh Church valve gear fitted, which is the conventional, you know, it's just like most other locomotives. This one, by the way, has the Bullitt tender, as you can tell. Quite a bit different looking to the one that Tangmere's got. Here are my ratings then for the Hornby Excalibur Express train pack. Detail 9 out of 10, it really was very well detailed, close to a 10 I would say in fact. Performance 8 out of 10, Hornby's choice of lubricant meant that there were serious performance issues with this, but I did manage to get them sorted out and now it runs just beautifully. Character 10 out of 10, I may be slightly biased here, but I just love the Bullitt Pacifics, and I think the coaches as well just go so nicely with it. So 10 out of 10 there. Build quality 10 out of 10, this was definitely before Hornby's cheap and nasty phase, and it really is very nicely built with the high quality materials, so 10 out of 10 there. Value £120 down to 100 with my £20 refund, I thought was fantastic, considering you get the 3 coaches too, so 10 out of 10 there. Overall then that gives her 9.36 out of 10, ranking it 9th, just above the Class 71 and below the J15. Alright then folks, I'll leave you with that then. Really hope you enjoyed that as much as I definitely did. Yes, one of my favourite reviews for a while actually. Thoroughly enjoyed that, and I really hope you did as well. So if you did like the video, please feel free to leave it a like or even a comment, because that really does help me and the channel out. And also, if you'd like to check out the Facebook and Twitter pages, the links for those are below. Don't forget that I also run a model maintenance service, so if you've got any loco trouble like I did with this Bullet Pacific, although please don't send me a job like that. Not really, you can if you want, but I won't enjoy it. Yeah, you can do, just look me up on eBay or send me an email to samstrains@outlook.com. But for now, folks, thank you very much for watching once again, and I will see you very soon. Cheers, everybody.